Welcome back to the Tigers Den podcast, guys. Before we get started, you know what we got to do. Smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're brand new. And don't forget, hit those links down in my description. Follow your boy on Twitter, Facebook, and IG at Big C Gat Game. Well, our Tigers are sitting at 3-0 and have a tough matchup coming up with the Tennessee Volunteers. But first, we got to look towards the future. The big part about building a dynasty is recruiting. And through 5 seasons, Coach Fobbs has done an amazing job bringing in some great talent. But this year, we're losing some legendary players. This senior class has put Grambling State on the map. Well, let's kick things off by looking at players that will be graduating this year, starting with our do-all QB, Phil Austin. PA2 took over for Devontae Kincaid after season 1 and has been a 4-year starter. Through his career, he's thrown for 82 touchdowns and 63 interceptions and just shy of 9,000 passing yards. Phil has been the outright leader of this offense. He has moments when he shows brilliance, but he has moments when it feels like he can't read a defense. We are excited to see how he will finish his senior year. Now let's take a look at the depth at quarterback. KRIS King is the starter in waiting. He's shown that he has full control of the offense and can make the tough throws. And then there's freshman QB Matt Jones. Talk about athletic. This kid can run, and he has a strong arm. But his accuracy is our main concern. That's why he's wearing the red shirt his freshman year. In the backfield, Charlie Brooks has been a star. He's another 4-year starter for this team. From day one of recruiting, we knew that CB23 was going to be our guy. He had an historic freshman year that led to him winning the Heisman Trophy. He followed it up his sophomore season with another big year, but in his junior year, the injury bug caused him to only play in 2 games. So far, in 3 games into his senior season, he's off to a great start. Now it's time to look at the depth at running back, and last year's Heisman winner Joel Thomas is waiting to take over. He was a 2,000-yard back last season, and we can expect more of the same coming up. Then there's freshman Kevin Easley. He's a speed back but has some power too, and you can't forget about redshirt freshman Charles Jackson, who is learning behind 3 great running backs. Out wide, Chad Terrell and Demetrius Gunn have been the leader since joining this group. Chad Terrell transferred from Ole Miss, sat a year, then exploded on the scene. Since joining the Tigers, he has 103 receptions for just under 1,500 yards and 22 touchdowns. Demetrius Gunn has been a starter all 4 years on campus. He has yet to break 40 catches in a season, but he does everything to get the job done. He's been the deep ball guy or the spin guy. Over his career, he's caught 111 balls for just under 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. These two will definitely be missed. I will say this, though, about the Tigers. They've done a great job recruiting receivers in the past 5 years. In waiting, you have Edwards, Cox, Paxson, and freshman Smith. That's going to be a dangerous foursome going into next season. Then sprinkle in Walker and Price coming off their red shirts. This wide receiving core is going to be dangerous. On the O-line, we're losing 2 starters. Both on the left side, you have Mark Griffin at left tackle. He's a JUCO transfer. He's done a solid job. Then you have first-year starter Kyle Davis. He's done a decent job this year playing left guard. Moving over to the defense, and what can we say about Josh Carey? When he first came on campus, he was a safety, but we converted him to a linebacker, and that was the best move for his career. Every year, his stats have gone up. Filling his role is going to be very difficult. In the secondary, we are losing 3 great corners: James Heron, Jermaine McConnell, and Fred Paris. Right now, Heron is our best cover corner. We're able to leave him on an island. McConnell is our slot or dime corner. He's got great speed, but his cover skills are just okay. Fred Paris has been a surprise. Last year, he won the Thorpe Award with 4 interceptions and a handful of fumble recoveries. But going into next year, this cornerback group is going to be stacked. Rayshawn Baker will be back as a junior. Ron Bennett will be a senior. Then we have 2 players coming off red shirts, freshman Ken Johnson and sophomore Brent Stovall. Both have amazing coverage ability and will play vital roles in the secondary next year. And our last senior is safety Will Gibson. He's played a vital role on special teams, and this year he saw some playing time at coverage linebacker. So there are some important players graduating this year, so it's time for us to look to the future. Here's a look at the Season 5 recruiting board. Let's start with the players that have already committed, starting with 4-star athlete Anthony Davis from Louisiana. He's 6'2", 260, and based on his traits, he's best suited to play D tackle. He has a strong power move and great play rec. He's going to be a great addition to the D-line room. Next up is Charlie Butler. He's 6'4", 209 pounds, an athlete from Camden, Arkansas. He has great speed, but no real position. I could see him maybe playing safety, but I'm just not quite sure yet. Then we take a trip to Kansas and pick up Marcus Jones from Overland Park. He's 6'3", 235 pounds. He's a DN and a 4-star prospect. He has a solid rush trait and can tackle and get off blocks. Another great pass rusher for this D-line. Next up is tight end Mark White from Massachusetts. He's 6'8", 244 pounds and a 2-star prospect. Now, I think he may be better than his 2-star ranking. He has decent speed, but look at the hands in the route running. He'll be a great addition to the passing game. So now we go to the top of the board, and every season Coach Hobbs wants to add a quarterback, and I think they may have found a special one. Meet 4-star quarterback CODY Walker from Illinois. He's 6'5", 227 pounds, and can run. His ratings remind me a lot of Phil Austin when we recruited him 4 seasons ago. Right now the Tigers have a huge lead over Texas. Next on the board is guard KRIS Murphy. He is the #1 guard in the country, and this young man is a stud. He would come in and start at left guard off jump, but we have a lot of work to do. Right now, LSU and Texas have a solid lead. So the goal going into next season is finding a replacement for Josh Carey, and there are a few players that couldn't play the same role. First up, meet Craig Manning from Michigan. He's 6'7", 210 pounds, and he's the #2 ranked strong safety in the class. But his tackling and zone coverage skills could make him an ideal candidate to move to outside linebacker. Another replacement is ANTWAN NUGENT, a 3-star prospect from Brookline, Mass. His speed and tackling make him an ideal candidate to move to linebacker. We have some ground to make up, though. Boston College and Syracuse both are in front of GSU. Next on our board is 5-star athlete Eric Rogers, and this kid is special. He's a #4 ranked athlete in the country, and he's from Texas, and this kid is fast. He has corner and running back traits. Could you imagine Rogers taking that counter run with the dual tight ends off the court? He turns the corner, turns on the jets, and takes it to the house. He's a for sure must-get for the Tigers. We are still looking for depth on our O-line, and Nick Walton would be another great addition. He's a 4-star Nebraska native and is a solid blocker. His impact block needs some work, but he makes up for it with his strength. Right now, his hometown Cornhuskers have a slight lead. Since we are losing 3 corners this season, Andrew Benson would make a great addition to the Tigers. The Mississippi native is the #1 player in the state and is deserving. He is fast and has great coverage ability. Teaming him up with the crew that is already in place, the no-fly zone will be dominant. Grambling State is also looking for depth at linebacker and found outside linebacker Eric Sellers from Florida. He's a 4-star prospect, and he is fast too. He can lay the hat, but his tackling and play rec needs some work. Looking at our O-line, Mark Griffin will leave a huge hole at left tackle, and Jarrett Lee could play a vital role in filling that hole. He's a 4-star prospect from Texas. He has decent blocking traits, but needs to work on his strength. Another possible replacement for Carey could be #1 free safety in the class. Meet Travis Haley from Alabama. And this kid fits the mold. He's got great speed, great tackling, and hit power with decent zone coverage. He could step in and start day 1 for the Tigers. Moving down the board, we have a 5-star prospect in Kyle Kendrick from Hawaii. He is the #7 athlete in the class, and he has an interesting skill set. From the looks of things, he would make a great linebacker. My only concern is his 80 speed. Next on the board is one of my favorite prospects. Meet 5-star athlete Mike Harper from South Carolina. He has decent speed, but his man and zone coverage is above average, and he can also play wideout. He's got great hands and can run routes. Like I said before, we're still looking at depth for our linebacker position. Meet Dennis Norman from Georgia. He's a 4-star prospect, but his traits are just okay. He can tackle and has great hit power, but he cannot get off blocks and has terrible coverage ability. He would be a candidate for the red shirt his freshman year. Next up is Aaron Wilkinson from North Carolina. He's 6'1", 174-pound athlete, and he is a gem. He is a for sure corner. Just look at those coverage skills. He would be a great lockdown corner for the no-fly zone. Finally on our board is ASHTON Hall, a 3-star linebacker from Florida. He's another gem with solid speed and great tackling traits. He will need work on his agility, but he is a tackling machine. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the recruiting special. Remember that this isn't the final board. Players will be added and dropped, so make sure you're following me on Twitter, IG, and Facebook to stay up to date with everything Grambling State at Big C Gat Game. Comments below, let me know which prospect you guys are excited to see. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're brand new. And we'll talk from the Tigers Den podcast as we get ready for a tough matchup with the Tennessee Volunteers. Have a great day, guys. 2 fingers in the air. Peace.